Welcome to the September update. Today, we'll be taking a look at what games are coming to the PlayStation Vita this month, as well as recapping all the most recent Vita-related news stories. Our first news story this month is equal parts strange and awesome. Some 24 years ago, long before they became known for their Battlefield and Battlefront series, DICE was working on a Metroidvania-style platformer for the Sega Genesis called Hardcore. The title was cancelled in 1994, with the developer shifting its focus towards the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. Yet here we are in 2018, and the good folks at Strictly Limited Games have taken it upon themselves to finally release the title under the name Project Hardcore. Long believed to have been lost, the game's source code was finally unearthed last year. Project Hardcore is currently set to launch on Vita and PS4 in the first half of 2019. Some sad news broke last month regarding the Vita version of the upcoming Castlevania-inspired, blood-stained Ritual of the Night. Along with the announcement that the game would be delayed to 2019, came the cancellation of the PS Vita version of the game. Producer Koji Igarashi cited a few different reasons for the decision, stating, quote, "This decision is largely due to Sony's plans to discontinue the Vita console, ending production of physical copies and stopping certain online store support features. It is extremely unfortunate, but as a result, we won't be releasing this game on Vita." Those who backed the Vita version of the game will be allowed to either select a different platform or request a refund. Considering developers still have until February of 2019 to get in their physical Vita game orders, it's disappointing that Ritual of the Night's developer have instead opted to simply axe the Vita version. Those still looking for a Castlevania-esque experience on their Vita can check out the excellent Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which presently stands as one of Vita's best games of 2018. In more uplifting news, 2018 has seen the highest game completion rating of Vita's entire lifespan. According to a report by True Trophies, average Vita game completion times have gone down since 2012, while the average completion percentage has only gone up. In other words, Vita gamers are completing more games faster. This can mainly be attributed to the wealth of small indie titles presently releasing on the system, many of which have easy trophy lists and are cross-buy with the PS4 versions as well. Two PS Vita One Piece games, namely Unlimited World Red and Pirate Warriors 3, have been pulled from the PlayStation Store. Presently, no explanation has been offered by the publisher as to why these games have seemingly vanished from Vita's virtual store, though this can likely be attributed to expired rights. On August 24th, Limited Run Games released a physical Vita version of Gunhouse, a tower defense/puzzle game from last year. Collectors can find the game on Limited Run's website, which I'll link to in the description box. Now that we've covered all the major news stories, let's check out what games are coming to the Vita this month. First up, we have Full Blast, a shoot-'em-up from UFO Crash Games. A homage of sorts to the arcade shoot-'em-ups of old, Full Blast blends retro-style vertical shooting with modern graphics. Full Blast campaign spans 12 levels, in which you assume the role of humanity's last hope as you board your fighter and combat an onslaught of alien foes. And don't let its heavy metal soundtrack fool you. While Full Blast is indeed fast-paced, it's not a bullet hell like so many modern games of its genre. Full Blast releases digitally in the US on September 4th, followed by a European release on the following day. Next up, we have Siggy, A Fart from Melusina. This oddly named indie game sees you assume the role of Knight Siggy as he embarks on a quest to save his love, Melusina, facing off against hordes of enemies along the way. The parallels to Super Mario Bros. Go beyond the game's simple premise and into its side-scrolling gameplay. Siggy's 8-bit aesthetic and parallax backgrounds also make for a very pretty game, which will no doubt look great on Vita's OLED display. Siggy, A Fart from Melusina releases digitally in both the US and Europe on September 7th. Our next game is Pato Box, an adventure/fighting game that harkens back to the classic Punch-Out series. The game alternates between 3D exploration and 2D fighting sections, the latter of which pits you against a challenging opponent in a boxing match. Paddle Box's story mode features interactive dialogues, minigames, and a score of secret collectibles that expand the story, while arcade mode pits you against a series of bosses in the ring. The game also features a distinct comic book art style that stands apart from anything else offered on the system. With a charming premise, an interesting blend of gameplay mechanics, and a novel look, Paddle Box is shaping up to be one of Vita's most unique games. The game releases digitally on September 18th in the US and Europe. Next up, we have Punchline, a visual novel based on the anime of the same name. The game has you assume the role of Yuta, a ghost who's trying to return to his body. Punchline's premise bleeds into its gameplay mechanics, allowing you to haunt a house and its occupants. As the player successfully carries out pranks on the different housemates, you'll slowly gain access to new paranormal abilities, such as the ability to possess different characters. Punchline releases both digitally and at retail in the US on September 25th. The last game I'll be showcasing this month is Steins Gate Elite, the latest sci-fi visual novel from the Science Adventure series. An updated version of 2009's Steins Gate, Elite blends footage from the Steins Gate anime with some newly produced animations. An evolution of sorts of the visual novel genre, Elite is fully animated, a first in the series' long history. Steins Gate Elite releases both digitally and at retail on September 20th in Japan, with the limited edition version also releasing on the same day. Which brings us to the end of the September 2018 update. While there are more Vita games releasing this month, these are all the major titles I wanted to showcase here. For a full list of this month's Vita releases, see the description box below. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. For all things PlayStation, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, this has been Fixation.